Countless amount of investors have come to us through fans. Countless amount of retailers have opened accounts with us because of fans. We've solved problems with supply chain because of fans. This is where I think the future of any business or individual must go, is build community and build fandom rather than just focus on growth, because in the end, that will stay forever.
Welcome to the Eat, Play, Crush podcast. I am your host, Mary Shanuda. All right, Jake Karls, welcome. Is the last name fully Karls, or is it short for something?
It actually used to be something else like decades ago. Like my grandfather was in Germany and he had to change his last name. So when he left Germany, it used to be Carlsberg, I think.
Okay.
So it's Karls now though.
And they immigrated from Germany to Montreal.
To Montreal. And then built a family there.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
You are the founder and CEO of Midday Squares, but I have a feeling that's not how you introduced yourself.
No, I'm a Rainmaker. That's who I am. I'm the fucking Rainmaker. And what that means is my day-to-day is make friends. My whole job and like motto in life is make people feel something so that I could create a connection. And then if we do business together, great. If we're friends, it's even greater, because friends bring community. They bring happiness a lot of the time, if that's true. And I turn that into a job. And every day I travel, I make noise, I have fun. I'm exhausted right now, burnt out, exhausted.
Yeah, you're on a milk run.
Yeah, I'm on a milk run. I call them milk runs.
Where did that come from?
Think about milk so as a kid.
Yeah.
We would get delivered milk at our house by this lovely man named Jack.
Yeah.
Jack the milkman. And he would always say he's on a milk run every time. And I was like, what the hell's a milk run? He's like, well, I deliver milk to every house in the neighborhood. This is years ago, like over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And, when I first went on my first trip, 3 years ago for business, I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I did a second trip and it was 2 cities. Then it was 3 cities, 4 cities. And then I started packing in meetings. I'm like, yo, I'm like Jack the milkman. I'm a milk run. I'm on a milk run. And then people started loving it. And it was like, it's nostalgic, but it's also like, it's true. Like I'm going meeting to meeting, person to person, making them feel good, making them feel something, and then doing business, right? So it's a milk run, and I made clothing for it. I did everything. I got so excited.
I would say, is there like a milk box on with it? I love that.
Feet and like skinny legs are really skinny and like big shoes.
Yeah.
Is
the milk carton wearing sunglasses?
Oh yeah, so sunglasses indoors at all times. So we're indoors if no one doesn't know. I always wear new sunglasses, and every type of brand, and I'll wear clear ones now too. Actually, clear ones with blocks from dust coming in, because like I have an anxiety of going blind. We'll get into that later. But
we'll talk about the anxiety more too. So
milk runs with glasses.
So we'll back up. Midday Squares is, you consider it like a functional chocolate bar. Yeah. I remember when they first came out because I saw them at Erewhon, and I was really pumped to see a product be released in the same vein as Fat Fudge, where it's like, it's chocolate, it's functional, it's mindfully put together. But when you guys got into Erewhon, that I saw, it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, but you guys have been in business a little bit longer than that.
So 5.5 years we've been in business. We started, my sister, my brother-in-law, and I, and it was actually made for people that just wanted an afternoon snack. Like 2 p.m. you want chocolate, don't go eat the palm oil and high sugar chocolate. We want to give you something that would actually sustain energy. So the aspect was give indulgence, but add a little bit of function. So a little bit of protein, a little bit of fiber, and some high fats, so that it's to satiate you and not bloat. Because a lot of products out there, you eat at 2 o'clock, you pull it out of your cupboard, you pull it out of whatever it is, your office, and you literally feel like crap. You feel like shit. So we just wanted to make something else. And my sister was actually making this snack, I think 2 or 3 years before Midday Squares, for her husband, my brother-in-law, who's my partner as well. Yeah. And he honestly was unhealthy, and he still is unhealthy, but he was eating junk chocolate all the time. And she's like, I love food. Let me make you something cleaner.
Yeah.
And she just made him a cleaner snack. He took it to his office. Everyone loved it. And years later, they wanted to do a business together. So they're like, well, what do we love? And chocolate and food was a very big passion of both of theirs.
Yeah.
And then they came to me, they're like, yo, you're a crazy wild guy. You are a community builder. We need you to be the front of the brand.
Yeah.
We'll be the back. Yeah. Let's make love. And that's it.
But before that, what were you doing? They just called you up on the couch, like, hey, let's start a business, but tell us that story.
So we're not partners because we're family. I think that's a big thing. We're partners because we complement each other's skill sets. And this is where the story comes that you're bringing up is, I used to throw parties on college campuses, using Snapchat as a community builder. So I'd tell stories, bring people together, try to sell them clothing, failed miserably, went bankrupt. And I did that for 2.5 years. And prior to that, I did a fitness business, which was successful. I was training people outside, but I didn't even have any skills or like credentials. All I did was have energy and storytelling.
Was it training, like outdoor training?
Yeah. So in Montreal, where I'm from, it's freezing, 7 to 8 months of the year. People love being outside in the summertime. So I thought to myself, I couldn't get a job in investment banking or actuarial science, which is basically
what is actuary? Because it sounds like
it's horrible. Well, listen, kudos to people that study it and practice it. It's a very high paying job.
Yeah.
And
but what is it?
It's basically deep stats and math. You are predicting people's lives to create insurance policies.
Yeah.
So,
did you like math?
No. So I did it because I was, and this is
so you graduate high school and you're like
barely graduated high school.
Statistics and math.
No. So I graduated high school, but I was told I wasn't going to graduate. So the kicker was in grade 11, my parents were called into the office, the principal's office, which is the usual occurrence. I got detentions all the time. But this time was different because my mom was crying because she's like, you're the only kid in your grade out of 140 that is not going to graduate.
It's a small class.
Yeah, small class. And think about it, 140 kids, mostly everybody. So if you're the only one moving backwards, you kind of feel a little bit like outlier in a negative way.
Where are you in the family dynamic, older, younger?
I'm the youngest. So I have a brother who's an entrepreneur as well. He has a toy company. He was academically quite strong in business, and he was going to be a doctor, but he chose business instead. My sister is the middle. She's my partner. She's a creative. I don't think she graduated high school and then dropped out after that and went to acting school. And then I was the last one, but I was always the class clown. I was always the fun kid, the one that always said everything's okay. Like you tell me how my day was, I'd be like, oh, good, even if it was bad. And
even when you were a kid,
yeah, kid. I used to just say that because I didn't want to bother with the negativity. So when I was in high school, I was the class clown. Everyone loved me. I had the spotlight.
Did you love you?
I loved myself, but I was so insecure that I was dumb. I felt like I was dumb because society deemed me dumb. I was in all the second tiers of classes. I was in all the extra help, which is nothing wrong with that. But at the time, I had counseling, all this thing. And I was getting 40s, 30s, 50s in class. And I couldn't do better. I actually just couldn't do better. Like it was hard.
Were you allowed to play sports?
I was very good at hockey. And I played every day. That was an outlet for me. So it was an outlet. I'd go home every day. I wouldn't do any homework. I would play hockey outdoors. And then in my basement, I'd practice all night, just shooting pucks, shooting balls. And I'd even put my mom in goalie and stuff, like do crazy shit. But at high school, I felt myself because I was actually like, the only thing I wasn't being myself was the insecurity of the dumbness, but everything else, I was having so much fun. I was a playground for me. I was making friends. I was building community within the high school. And then when everyone was moving forward, I felt like a loser, like a real loser, that all the decisions I made prior were wrong. Because society, in at least in the time, or maybe now as well, is it says go to high school, go to university, get a job, have a family. That's life. That's what societal pressure, in my opinion, is. And I'll never forget, I graduated high school with like a 61 in the end. I took that last year seriously. And I went to, because we graduated in grade 11 in Montreal. And then I went to university and I said, how can I make myself look smart? How can I fit into society, fit into all my friends, what they're doing? Hardest program. Choose the hardest program, stats and math, deep stats and math. If I do it, people will now not look at me as a class clown. They'll look at me as Jake's actually so smart. He has one of the highest paying jobs. So that was my mission. And I put all my attention to it. I was failing so hard in university because it was so hard. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I hated it. But I did it till the third year. And then I just collapsed. I was like, I'm done. I can't fucking do this. I couldn't get a job. I applied to every investment bank, every insurance company, because actuaries can work in an investment banks as doing the algorithms, right? And when I got rejected from each one, I felt like this is obviously not who I am. Like they hate me for who I am, or I won't pass the first interview because my academics are brutal and my personality is just different. I wouldn't show up in a suit. It's just not who I was. So in that moment, I was watching Shark Tank, and I'll never forget, I saw this guy. He had so much more to lose in life than I did. He had kids. He had mortgage on his house to pay his business, but he looked free. He looked like momentous, happy, energized. And in that moment, I said, whatever he's on, I need to be on that, because I'm sulking right now because I don't have a job. And I'm like, I have food on the table, thank God I have clothes, but this guy has a lot to lose, and he looks happy. So instantly I yelled as loud as I can. I said, fuck. I can't remember. I said, fuck. Or and my mom came running down. She told me something was wrong. And I was like, Ma, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what I'm going to do, but whatever freedom that guy has, I need. Or whatever drug he's on, which was drug of life, joie de vivre, let's call it. I need it. Even no matter how hard he was working, how much he had to lose, he still had that sense of purpose and freedom. And that's when I started my first business right off the bat. I did a fitness business.
That was a fitness business.
And then
you said you sold that one?
I didn't sell it. I just stopped doing it. I was making like $80,000 that summer cash. So no government pay, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
which at that age, it's dope.
20 years old, 21 years old. I was killing it. The investment bankers that were doing the summer jobs were making less than that.
Yeah.
So I was on fire. At the time I was partying.
How those stats working for you now?
Yeah. And I was just like, my shirt was off. I was jacked at the time. I looked good. I was feeling alive. I actually felt unstoppable. And I would go out at night with my friends, have fun, restart, and I'd feel okay to wake up at 5 a.m. a day, go right till 9 p.m. And I was having so much fun, making money, having fun, living in my parents' house. And then I eventually just lost passion. It felt like it was a therapy session every time now. I was training 180, 200 people, over the clients. And everything started being about negativity. It was just like, oh, I'm going through this in my life. I'm doing that. And I was just like, I don't have that energy to receive anymore. And it's not about the money, because if it was about the money, I would have continued, but it was about, this is not what I want my legacy to be. I don't feel purposeful doing it annianymore.
But you got something out of the beginning. You got some like core values from it.
Storytelling, community, and understanding that I love giving energy to people. So I was taking my shirt off, dancing. I was always dancing.
So naturally club was next.
Yes, exactly. And then that business, I shut it, and then I started another one because I was like, I love the freedom of being able to make your schedules, do what you want, and not really have to deal with anyone, because you could just be you, right? And I started a business where I threw parties on college campuses because I want to be with people, but I used Snapchat and Instagram to tell the students stories. And I tried to use like humans in New York, but like humans of like the campuses.
Okay.
And the operations didn't make sense. But the idea was I had a clothing, like literally t-shirts that had the logo on it, and I want the students to wear it to represent them. And I would throw these big parties on the campuses, have so much fun, live on like people's homes. It was literally the time of my life, but I was burning out slowly. And I was losing tons of money. So I ended up going bankrupt. But the brand looked cool. So people
what was the economics of that?
It was horrible. I just didn't know how to run the company. So I wasn't doing the accounting properly. I was operating, I was making the shirts so inefficiently that it was costing so much. Even the shipping, I was losing money on each order. And
like things people don't think about when they start a business.
But I had what I learned is I had droves of people that were attracted to the energy of the brand, the community, that wanted to just work for free. Because I didn't have money to pay, right? So they would literally just come to work for free because they wanted to be around that energy. And what that taught me was humans love energy. They love to be around something that's momentous or energetic. So I know how to create that. And when I closed this business, as I went bankrupt, I also got canned. I say canned because I was out of nowhere. My ex-girlfriend I was dating for 4 years, and I'm grateful she did this. She broke up with me out of nowhere after a trip in Croatia with her family the day after.
In Croatia?
Yeah, so I have to redo Croatia.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so I didn't get to experience
love Croatia.
So on this trip, it's crazy. I actually felt helpless. So I was on a trip with her family, dating for 4 years. So I obviously knew that it was their cousins, and I knew all of them. She wouldn't hold my hand. She wouldn't do these weird things, and we didn't have communication. There was no communication. So I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was just she was just mad at me or something. The next day when I got home, because I was going to leave the trip early because I thought it was like this relationship was already over. She broke up with me, and my business shut within 2 weeks before that. So I was just like, I'm a loser. I'm like, I'm going to get a job. So I was looking at jobs, and I was like, I just kind of felt like I was at rock bottom. And it wasn't my true rock bottom, but it was rock bottom at the time. And my sister and my brother-in-law came to me, and they're like, yo, you're a great community builder. We're not good at that. And we have this chocolate bar we've been developing for the last 8 months. Do you want to join as our third founder and be the face of the brand, be the brand, make the brand relevant? And I looked at them, I was like, fuck no. I was like, no, because chocolate bars and food, there's 40,000 products on a shelf. What are you going to do? How do you beat the companies that have hundreds of millions of dollars to pay customers to buy the product, pay for real estate in the store? You're one chocolate bar. I said to them, you're out of your fucking mind. I said, go to a store, let's walk it right now and tell me how many brands mean something to you. And they're like, not a lot. I was like, so how do you expect to win? They're like, that's your job to figure out. And the moment I was just I was so depressed. I was so unhappy with life that I was like, this is a good distraction. So I put all my money, everything I had, moved back to my parents' home, said, let's build this business. And I said one thing. I said, I know how we're going to win. You guys take care of product. I'm a horrible operator. I won't touch operations. But I need you guys to understand that storytelling and authenticity are going to be the forefront of this business. And what I meant by that was I said, if we could create content that actually relates to the end customer at a very deep level, meaning that you trigger emotions, evoke anger, happiness, sadness, nothing to do with the chocolate bar, but it have to do with emotions and relatability to their lives, we could win. And I said, if we create storytelling that will bring them to the store, where they go to the store, they don't see 40,000 products. They see this bar every time because they're like, hey, I love that company. I like what they stand for. I like their values. I like who they are, and I can relate to them. Then we'll win. And they looked at me and said, how do you do that? I said, well, you're introverts. I'm extrovert. No one's better than the other. I said, you guys need to get on fucking camera and start filming your life at your home in the environment we're making the bars. And let's just start documenting and sharing raw footage. Good, bad, ugly. And it started working. And ever since then, we've had cameras everywhere, basically following us around most of the time. It's exhausting. But it created a fan base that is not the biggest fan base in the world, but we have people that are diehard. They're deep and they're foundationally strong. So they don't just buy product. They go, they buy, they go to the dinner table and they talk about it. And they say, hey, try this. Countless amount of investors have come to us through fans. Countless amount of retailers have opened accounts with us because of fans. We've solved problems with supply chain because of fans. And this is where I think the future of any business or individual must go, is build community and build fandom rather than just focus on growth, because in the end, that will stay forever or a long time, good or bad times. When you don't have that, during price hikes and things like that, they're going to leave.
To be able to do that takes a je ne sais quoi. I try to tell that to more traditional entrepreneurs, because I got shelving at Whole Foods because a customer was obsessed with Fat Fudge and he happened to be the VP of purchasing and knew that I was a small business. I have help on the line because they were using the product, and I shared how my friend who was the founder of Four Sigmatic had asked me, how much free fill did you have to give? And I was like, what's free fill? And he's like, my God, how do you get these favors? And I was like, I just tell people the truth and I show them how I'm building. And I say, I don't really know what I'm doing. And if you'd like to help me, and people want to help a brand that they feel tied to. So that was another component that I really love seeing that you were doing, is that the humility. I moved back in with my parents. That's the humility in that, to go and build something that I think is really, really lost. I want to talk about how you first started. You guys started the first seed product. Like, who are the initial customers you were handing the bars to when they were all hand wrapped?
Oh my God. So I have a bit of post-traumatic stress from that experience, because we made these products originally in my sister and brother-in-law's condo. So we turned their condo literally into a Health Canada and quotation approved facility where it was just tables. We moved their den out. We turned their bedroom into a shipping room. And we'd go in from 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. hand making these bars. And we'd get like tendonitis actually in like the wrist and like the elbow and the shoulder, because they're rolling.
I have that muscle from the ketchup bottles.
So boom, you see what you're doing? So it's hard on the body.
Yeah.
And we would do that every day, and we were only able to make 80 bars. So
80 bars a day?
Yeah.
I could do 600 packets a week.
So it's almost a similar number, but it was crazy. Like nothing else was going through your mind other than making the product. It was just like, let's make it. It was just like, go. So I forgot about pain. There was no like this. I was just tired. but you had this like I had this renewed energy that was just like powerful. But we did it from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then we'd hand deliver to our customers in Montreal because we couldn't afford shipping. Yeah.
Driving, biking, anything?
Just driving, because it was pretty distance.
Yeah.
But we would sit in the car, the three of us, and then one would go in, and then sometimes we'd have to sit with the customer and actually be there for like 20, 30 minutes, have tea. It was the funniest thing. And then come back in, and we had maps set out, and we'd get home at like 10 p.m. and then rinse, repeat. I actually was going crazy. So I can't go into their condo anymore because it gives me like anxiety because of those moments. And we used to like literally like, we hired like 5 people in there. It was literally a chocolate factory. We almost got kicked out of the building because the cocoa smell, and people were just coming in every day, and they're like, you can't have a chocolate factory running in a condo. It's just not allowed. Like the neighbors were complaining, even if we give them free bars, but what was unique is we had a program that was a 25-cent sample. So all you had to do was put your credit card down on our website, and it was 25 cents to buy the midday square at the time. And it costed more to make it, by the way. So we then
to ship it
and hand deliver. So we were hand delivering. So we weren't even shipping it. So all that time went into 25 cents. So people would try it, and we actually put a handwritten picture, like a Polaroid with like a handwritten note from us saying like, well, you could return it. If you don't like it, we'll refund your money. And like we write personal things about them. And there was so much human touch that the humans buying it were like, this company's fucking cool. And at the same time, my strategy was document with like a tripod everything, drama, fighting, arguments, momentum, hype, all that stuff that you never see.
Between the three of you guys.
Between the three, and then even with the customers, hand delivering. So all this stuff you don't get to see in real businesses, we showed. So people started seeing it online. And then they're like, oh, I want to try this. I want to support them. And we were this underdog story of this new company, 3 people that are just good energy, real, very transparent, showing, crying, things like that you don't really see from people. And we didn't have followings or anything on social media. So we just posted and then slowly started going up. Next thing you know, you had a local retailer, a bagel shop, say, hey, can we support you? And they support us. Then you had a salad shop, then you had a gym, then you had this. And then there was this crazy energy in Montreal where we were like the talk of town. And it was like this like viral moment where like everything started to make sense. It was a perfect storm except for the manufacturing, because eventually we were unable to hire more people in our house facility. And we moved into a small kitchen, and then we hired like 20 people. We were losing tons of money. And there was no scaling. We didn't know how to scale. And we actually went to co-manufacturers, and they couldn't make the product. So then we built our own facility.
And they couldn't make the product because they would try and it's just not up to spec.
It was not up to spec. It was like 60 to 70% of what we wanted. And like, I get it. So most people in food and beverage, it makes sense to go to co-packer because you could scale. It takes off a lot of stress or like ops that you don't think. You would think, but it actually creates a lot of stress, right? But we went and we'd give them a circle and they would come out as a triangle. Like it wasn't what we wanted. And when you believe in yourself and you truly believe in your product, you go guns blazing. You go full throttle, press the gas, and you don't take no for an answer. So my sister is very much like that as a personality. So she's like, fuck it. We're going to build a chocolate factory. And I said to her, are you crazy? I said, we have no money. We had like, I don't know, $200,000 in the bank account, which was enough to get us through maybe a year of like paying people to make the products. How are you going to get $4 million to build a facility? She's like, that's your job to fucking figure out. I'll figure out the machinery. You figure out how to get the money. And we got the money, luckily through our government, through like a whole process. But to support
you got the government to fund it?
Quebec government. So it was crazy. Like they believe in infrastructure debt. So basically, if you want to build,
they believe in infrastructure debt
to like build like jobs, basically. So machines and stuff like that creates manufacturing, which creates more jobs, which stimulates the economy in quotations. And basically we applied and there was a rigorous process, but we ended up getting approved. But it was crazy because one night I was at a hockey game and we were waiting on the money and we had no money left in our bank account and we had to put in POs for the machines. And these are the down payments, but it takes 18 months to get the machines, right? So what's crazy about the story is I went to the hockey and sit front row behind the penalty box because there's GoPro cameras in the penalty box. When the player comes in, he's on TV and it goes on national Canadian television, right? So it's great marketing. So I bring expired chocolate bars with me and I always put the bars on top of his head or whoever it is in the box, and it goes on the Jumbotron and on the television. So for $900 for the 3 seats, it's great marketing, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of in this euphoric moment because I was like, oh, the business is probably going to close. We're not going to get our money. We're number like, I can't remember exactly what number we were in line for the loan. And we sent blank checks to the machine manufacturer because that's what entrepreneurs do. Get creative, delay till you can get it to happen. And I remember going to the game and there's this guy sitting next to me, no idea who he was, naive that I didn't know who he was. But everyone kept saying hi to him, taking pictures with this guy. Every day it was a new picture, it was this, shaking hand every minute. And I was getting annoyed because you're watching a hockey game and people are crossing you during the game. It's rude. So I didn't even turn my neck the whole game because I didn't want him to get attention because I was like, maybe this guy is just like, he's bothering me, And that's just an insecurity of mine. But anyways, end of the second period, finally a penalty comes. I'm like, now's my chance. He was in the seat that's directly behind the penalty. So I had to lean on him to put the bars on. I would usually ask, right? Because that's a polite thing to do. But I'm like, fuck it. This guy, I don't care who he is.
Very un-Canadian of you.
Very un-Canadian. And I just lean on his groin near his penis, actually. And I get the bars on top of the guy's head and it goes on the screen. People start clapping because we're a local brand. And then I get text, you're on local TV. You got it. And I'm fired the fuck up. And he starts laughing hysterically, this guy. And he's like, in a French accent, he's like, is this your company? I'm like, yeah, nice of you to ask. And then I turn around and then I think, oh shit, now he's asking. I should give him the story. And then I elbow him again and I go, bro, are you famous? And he goes, not famous, but I'm a politician. So I go, who? What do you do? And he's like, well, I am the Premier of Quebec. Now, the Premier of Quebec is your governor equivalent. So you're governor of California, right? So I was like, oh shit, this is the most powerful person in our province, in a state. I was like,
I didn't know who your premier was?
I didn't know. That's how naive I was at the time. Now I know politics pretty well. So at the time I didn't. So now I'm like, fuck, I'm waiting on money from the government. I have 35 more minutes with this guy.
What are the odds?
What are the odds? His son is like being very nice, like he's sitting next to him. So I start telling him the whole story. Quebec, we're from Quebec. We're building the business. We're local proud. All the story. And he's like, oh, have you ever taken money from our thing? I was like, nice if you'd ask.
You should
I'm like, we're actually waiting on the government program. I'm like, it's a great program, but we're about to go bankrupt. Like, and he's like, okay. And he just listened. And he's like, can I try the bars? And I was like, oh no, they're expired. You can't try them. I don't want that liability of our fucking governor dying or whatever happens. They wouldn't die from the bars, but get sick, God forbid, or something. But yeah, so then I left the arena and he's like, I'll buy them at the store. So I left the arena and within 36 hours, the money was transferred. I can't say he did anything. I don't know for a fact.
Bro.
We'll never know. Bro, but insane. But there's two morals to that story. Share your fucking story every single day proudly. You never know who you're next to.
Mm-hmm.
Second, do things that are do things that are not traditional. Be an outlier.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't take risks, if I didn't take the risk in that moment, we might not have been. I might not be with you, Mary, right now. I really might not be sitting here. So
don't be one of the. I hate that. This is the way we've always done it, or this is how it's done. Screw that. I want to. There's a saying: never teach a designer how to sew.
Interesting.
Because then they know limitations and they design within limitations of sewing. That's not design. That's not how you live your creative life. Be an outlier, like you said. Be creative with how you are marketing yourself, marketing your story, and
be proud of
the fruits of those labor.
And by the way, like I'm guilty of what you just said about the designer and sewing. So as I've grown the business, more bureaucracy has kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad a little bit in the sense that I have limitations where I think I have limitations which I didn't have when those days I was telling you about the condo.
Mm-hmm.
I was fucking unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You saw me. If you saw me then, you're like, this guy's a ball of energy. And I was authentic. I was really like, I felt in flow. I wasn't tired because even though it was so exhausting in terms of the workload, I had energy. I was so inspired to go meet our customers. I was so inspired to make the chocolate bar, even though I was pouring ingredients all day. Like it was energetic. I was happy. Now with the moments that we've built a lot more in the business, we have a lot more, infrastructure. We have a lot more shareholders. We have a lot more customers. We have a lot more of a lot of different things. I feel a bit more scared. Even though I'm very confident in who I am as an individual, I'm scared. And I think that that's translated into a lot of things in my life. But I feel like limitations have come because I've learned more, I've seen more, which should be the opposite. Or I'm fearful of losing it all. And that's where it's coming from. I don't know. But I feel like I have limitations.
If you were to lose it all, you now know you can build something great. You don't find any solace in that?
So I have a therapist that I see, a performance coach twice a week. Once with my partners, just to handle our partnership because we're family again, but we're not partners because of that, but we have to communicate very, there's personal communication, right? And then once myself, and I didn't believe in therapy before. I was a big advocate against it actually. Before Midday Squares, I thought I was the happiest guy in the game. I was in a fraternity. I was in like high level sports, like hockey. So like, how could I be miserable? But I thought that therapy meant that you were unhappy or lesser of. And when my partner said day one, you have to, if you want to be our third partner, you need to come with us to therapy. I said, this is not negotiable.
Your sister's idea?
It's my brother-in-law's idea. He had a bad experience in a partnership. He had a very rough experience in a partnership when the communication was the big problem. And so he worked for 12 years, on that therapy. And then they started going together and then they both recommended it. But my sister knew I wouldn't want it because I was very immature emotionally at the time. And I looked at it as like, you're lesser of. Like, it means you're depressed and weak. Even though I was feeling depressed at the time. Like, I was actually on rock bottom, but I felt that was just like a statement. If I told people I went to therapy, I was embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed that I even think that now, but it was a learning experience. But that 5 years ago, when I went to my first session, they said, if you want to be a partner of this business, you must go to 5 sessions minimum to start. And if that doesn't work, then we can't be partners. I said, you're going to throw away all this that we've built for that. And they're like, yeah. They're like, you'll thank us because you're going to realize how powerful communication is, understanding yourself is, and then becoming a better leader and an individual and a friend, everything in life. So I went to the first 5 sessions and they were horrible. It was literally bullets. It was literally, they were criticizing me, but I took it, my ego.
The therapist was criticizing
No. The therapist was the guidance. His name's Dr. James Gavin.
Oh, you mean as the group?
Yeah, the group.
Got
so
it.
he was guiding the conversation in a safe manner and he was creating a zone of of stability, because sometimes you think it's 2 against 1, right? Because they're married and I'm the brother or brother-in-law. And I went to the first 5 sessions and it was bullets. It was constructive criticism on on how I perform in business, but I took it as my ego took it. So it was very bad. But then I worked through the therapy and I believe that I start to get the rhythm and start to understand that this is empowering me. This is making me stronger. This is making me a better person and understand myself, who I actually am way more. So since then, I've gone to therapy now. I go once, twice a week minimum. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy because I switched from one extreme to, I wouldn't say I'm a radical extreme there. I'm more like here, but I believe in it and it's helped me understand a lot. And that's been a big thing for me today. And I've been now working through this fear.
With the fear.
But now I'm working through the fear with him. And the fear is he's helping me understand and accept that I'm more than midday squares. I'm more than the what people like and what talk about with me. But I still think my identity is tied to that. And I'm slowly starting to get my identity out of that. And I'm working through it.
Would that have anything to do with the perception that people had of you in high school?
Yes.
Of being held back and then thinking I need to be an actuary in order to show them. And now you've shown them something and you still don't realize that the something you've created is you, like a product of what you did, not who you are.
Yeah, and I think you're saying it right. Like I'm still trying to prove myself. and I don't need to, but I rationally know that. But a lot of the things I do, it's like, oh, what would the people in high school think? What would, because I really was looked at as like the dumb guy, and that was but I was fun. People liked me as a person, right? So they liked my energy and all that stuff. But now, I get to do some really cool things. Even being here, having this conversation is an amazing experience, right? I get to experience a lot of different moments that I never thought I would. And last year, that's all I cared about was showing everybody else the awards I got, the TV segments, the superficial stuff, to be honest with you.
Identity is a very sensitive thing, especially for anyone that's achieving something or has achieved something, because your identity does get wrapped into the thing, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a founder of a company. Logan Gelbrick, who I had on the podcast, a friend of mine, was once asked, do you feel like you've made it? And his response always rings true to me. He's like, either I already have or I never will.
Interesting answer. Powerful.
Very powerful. And you just let it go, essentially, is just the fear. I honestly, I get the fear. I have that with the businesses that I run. I get that with the places I'm trying to penetrate, with the success that I want to have. But I'm on that path, which I have to remind myself, even being on this path is testament to the success and testament to the journey, because the what's going to change many, many times. And I can't, I've been on my knees, sobbing, crying, being like, I'm about to lose everything again.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. But the again part is what gets me to get back up. It's like, again, because I lost it again, but I built it before and I'll build it again.
So what gives me hope in what you're saying is, a small example that we recently went through was Costco is a great retailer, and Costco would be a very big unlock for midday squares in terms of the volume, the efficiencies, the manufacturing that we get from it, the profitability.
Yeah.
And we were told that we had to do a roadshow, which means that you have to prove yourself with the members. You basically have to sample the product and sell it. And Costco wants to see if the members like it, which is a fair thing. I think it's important that if you're not a huge brand that's world renowned, fine. So I asked the Costco team, what's the record of the most amount of sales that anyone's ever done on the roadshow? And they're like, they chuckle. They're like, oh, it's 81,000 or something. It's a lot of dollars in 6 days in one location. So I said to my team, I said, guys, let's fucking beat this record. Let's show them that Midday Squares deserves a home here for the Costco members, because the Costco members love Midday Squares. And we were all so hyped up about it. Like, our team got so energized. We like united to, like, it's not just my partners and I, it's the sales team, it's our customer experience. Everyone in our company, people from our production came to actually sample. They wanted to be part of it, right?
You guys rolled deep with those samples.
We rolled deep.
It's a full-on football team in one of those photos.
It was football, exactly. And we brought this community feel, we brought energy, and we were convinced that we were going to break the record, and we were going to show that Midday Squares earns the respect. That's all it was. And during that process, it was like a 10-day process. We worked like dogs. Like, I'm talking, like, I haven't done work like that it's probably since I was born, like, I don't know what maybe my life was before, but it was gruesome on the body. It was labor that was physical, but also we were so united and having so much fun. And then the record was broken. We broke it. And then I didn't feel anything. And someone asked me, what does it feel like? You guys officially are your names on a record. And I was like, I feel a little bit depressed. I had so much fun during. It was hard. It was painful. Like the pain was there. Like every day I was exhausted. I was mentally drained. I was physically drained. But it felt fucking unreal. And then after, the minute it ended, I remember when we broke it, the feeling of announcing it was fun. But after that, I wasn't motivated.
Your joy is in the pursuit.
Yeah, it's not. So then my identity is not tied to Midday Squares, because people say, what's your outcome with Midday Squares? Is it to sell the company? Is it money? Money's a byproduct. Fine. I'm a capitalist. I like taking risks, and capitalism could do a lot of good for the world if done properly. But what my real why is the legacy I want to leave on how I made people feel and the respect that people have for me. So Midday Squares is part of that, but it can't be my full journey. It can't be my full identity. So I now need to work on myself really hard to understand that Jake Karls is not Jake Midday Squares. There's Jake part of Midday Squares, but Jake Karls is a whole other person. And between you and I, a lot of people that I'm close with admire me for Jake Karls. They don't even talk to me about Jake at Midday Squares, but everyone else, 95% of the world, talks to me about Midday Squares and just talks to me about that. It's like they don't know me for anything else. And it makes me a little sad, but I understand it's part of a process. And this is where working on yourself and putting the money, putting the effort, the resources, the energy of yourself into yourself. Hence, peak performance is one of those concepts which I don't do, but I do the mental side of it. So I need the other side, but the mental side is an investment in myself. And it's helped because you can really lose yourself if you don't take control of your life. It's going to take control of you. And people just float in life. I don't understand it. They just breathe with the pain of what's missing. And their health is another thing, obviously, but I never want to be that person going forward.
Going to therapy came out of necessity because your partner said you needed to go. And now you're getting the alarm going off on how to take care of your health too.
Just last year.
Yeah. And so now you have an opportunity to not wait until it gets dire to listen. You can be more proactive before someone has a sit down with you. Like, now you got to take care of your health. So it's almost like every time you're coming up against the next challenge, you get better at having a little more foresight and being just that much more proactive about it, which is really important because one of the goals of the podcast is to highlight elite achievers, but then also highlight the fact that we're all performing on some level. And here are the things you can relate to. And here are the things that you can do as an everyday person to make sure that you're performing optimally. And it is the multiple pillars. It's the mental wellness. It's the, what are you eating? How are you moving your body? Sometimes it's the ability to make sure that you have solid finances. What does that look like to be clear in that way? So the drive we had over here was talking about for you, what your nervous system has gone through building a business.
Abuse. And, you know, I looked at myself in the mirror.
With the accent, abuse.
Yeah, abuse. Yeah, the French accent. Tabarnak, bon, si, Colin, si, boire. That's all swear words in French. But really Quebec French, not like France French. But the other day, like I think it was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I looked in the mirror and I was just like, I didn't like what I saw. And what I mean by that, and I just like, I felt unhealthy. Like, you know, I binge eat a lot on candy. There's a reason I'm obviously doing that. It's not there has to be an underlying reason. It's not just because I like candy, right? And then I looked at myself, I was just like, my hair was a mess. And like, I realized like, I sloop around. Like I put on clothes.
What's the word?
Sloop. I don't know what even that means, but I I don't know what it means. Like I used to care. I used to like put effort into me. I don't do that. And I feel bad about it.
This is for the last year.
Yeah, I just look, and it hit me like 3 weeks. I was looking in my mirror. I used to be like really fit. Like I'm not fit. By the way, I'm still fit, but I used to be so in love with fitness, so in love with the process. Like I made a business on that, right? And I cared, and I looked good. I felt good. I felt energized. I didn't feel tired at 1 p.m. every day. I didn't feel like lethargic 24/7. And I looked at myself, and I was just like, my skin was getting red, and I was just like, what's happening? I had like all these like on my elbow, I had like these like rashes on my like chest. I felt like dirty. I can't explain
Your
dirty.
body's talking to you.
And I'm not listening.
Yeah.
But I'm aware now because there's a trigger. Something triggered. Obviously,
Right.
I'm like feeling bad about myself to a certain extent. But I still keep going on the treadmill. On the treadmill of like the life that I'm addicted to, which is probably causing me to have a little bit of that.
Addicted to or committed to?
I think both.
There's an idea. I don't think balance is a real thing. Harmony is the thing. How do you create harmony in your day-to-day comings and goings with midday squares, and then allow lifestyle components to harmonize and seep into that? Because if you're an entrepreneur, balance does not mean the same thing as the way people put it out there, but you can create a harmonious day-to-day, either like rules of engagement for yourself or non-negotiables, because you are running your body just like an elite athlete's running their body to the ground. And the amount of support it takes to keep an elite athlete going is not dissimilar to the amount of support that you'll need to implement for yourself. It won't be as crazy. It won't be as expensive. It's not as intense.
No,
but you need to be fueling yourself in that way, fueling your mind, your body, your spirit. Otherwise, you do burn out, and then no one gets to see your legacy. No one gets to see the thing that you said you're put here to do. And it's almost like not taking care of yourself is really selfish of you.
It's selfish to me.
It's really selfish for you to not take care of yourself. How dare you let yourself fall apart and not let the world see you at your best?
You see, it's crazy perspective. That's a wild perspective.
It's because someone did that to me.
Okay, there you go. Listen, but now you're passing it on to me. So so that's powerful, right? And that's how the world actually gets better when things like this happen, conversation, serendipitous stuff like that. But I don't know, like you're right. I'm being selfish. Like I live in hotels. I live on airplanes. I feel nasty, but I'm committed to getting a legacy. But what you're saying makes sense is if I continue to run ragged and I collapse or I do, then selfishly, I'm not going to reach the legacy that I wanted to do.
You're robbing, like I really believe everyone has an assignment here on earth, right?
Yep.
And for you to not complete the assignment is just rude. How
rude.
dare you?
It's disgusting.
And you have to take care of yourself in order to complete that assignment. And some people get it. And I try to, I compare it to some of the greatest athletes in the world who have had the absolute blessing to even share oxygen with them. And the fact that I'll be in the room with some of these athletes and they're aware that they're not here for themselves. They're here for something greater than the sport. They're here to inspire. They're here to provide in different communities. And they know this, and they know they have to perform optimally in order to keep doing that. And when you're in a room with someone like that, you can't help but inherit that responsibility for yourself. I was like, I was granted access to be in this room. I have an assignment. I have to take care of myself because I need to be able to do whatever that looks like in my world, in my capacity. And you already have an idea that is of your essence. Some people are not even awake to the fact that they have an assignment. And the assignment doesn't have to be an elite athlete or a great politician. Sometimes it's just what you're doing in your own backyard in your community.
Yep.
And if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your community.
And I noticed like a year and a half ago that I started to feel like I was like not being able to do my best. And like I started to notice the body was just like feeling like different things. And like lethargia was the number one, like consistent lethargia and not motivated. What I used to love became a chore. What I'm trying to figure out now is searching back for the love. And I continue to do it every day. I try to find it every day. I'm looking, what do I really enjoy doing? Like I take a step back for a second. I say, Midday Squares, I enjoy the company, and I want this thing to build as big as it could get, give as much healthier chocolate for people, do the best I could do. But I need to know my place in the zone. What am I doing? What is it that I'm great at? Do I like speaking on conferences that I do every week? I don't know. I don't know if that's what I love. I definitely give energy, but is it what I love? I don't know. And I don't know what I could love until I feel good with myself, because if I'm not energized or I'm not properly, think about it, my brain is taking up 80% of energy. I'm just saying a number. I don't know the facts, but 80% of energy focused on my little feeling lethargic, tired, knee hurting. Where's my other focus? How am I optimizing for the business, or how am I optimizing for Jake? If it's all focused on the other stuff that's slowly falling apart, eating. And that's where I seem to be. Like I wake up, first thought is actually, am I going to be in pain today? First thought is not, let's take over the world, when it used to be that. Now it's turned into, what's gonna be wrong with me today? That's how I wake up. So I'm already starting on a negative frequency.
It's very common, and I love that entrepreneurs are starting to talk about this more because they only put on the best show for the world. And the thing is, when you feel like that, you're making decisions from that lens. And those aren't the decisions you'd be making if you felt better or felt great. A lot of people are not sharing that. And by not sharing that, you're not doing anyone any good. You're not doing yourself any good because you're not able to get the help that you need. And you're holding a standard that's unrealistic for the next person. And so the fact that you're even vocalizing this is huge. And then from there, like if you didn't bring this up at Expo, we wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't have been able to map out, all right, I'm going to do diagnostics on you. Like if you just said, like you have to vocalize it. You never know who you never know who you're.
You had like weird, like dark sarcasm. And I was like, who is this person? She's weird. Like, cause we were with like two people that are like high energy. Lily's high energy. Like, and Danny's awesome too. Right.
Yeah.
So you were there and I was like, who is this person? She's bold as sin. And she's sarcastically like dark in a weird way. And I love it. And I was just like, I fucking love it. And then I knew when you left, I know you weren't there for long. We had like a 20 or 15 minute conversation, but I knew when you left that we would connect in the future because intentionally you want to, when you meet someone like that, you're like, I want to intentionally be around them because it makes you feel less selfish about collapsing, but you're actually aiding yourself actually. Because healing also comes from people that you surround yourself with, right? If you're uplifting me, if you're educating me, if you're helping me, then I'm winning. I'm actually getting out of that slumpy, like selfish part and moving here. So I don't know. And then now we're here and I could assure you that we're going to do work together and great stuff. And you're going to hopefully bring me back on my feet in a way. And I hopefully could help you in some way.
I was 2 days away from going to the emergency room that day. I had this issue with my esophagus that had been building for about a week. And I was about to lose my voice. My esophagus was spasming. I couldn't try anything at Expo because even a sip of water. So I was malnourished. I hadn't eaten. I could barely drink water. Environments like that kind of stress me out anyways. And because I have to like turn on my extrovert side, which I couldn't because I was so depleted from actual physical nutrients. I took my laptop to the side because I had to do a pitch meeting for a TV show off to the side. So I had to be on, and whatever energy I had or voice I had, I used for that. And I ended up having to go to the ER a couple of days later. What had happened when I was taking an antibiotic a little too close to bed a week prior, and it got stuck in my esophagus and it basically burned a hole. And the ulcer was so bad, it was causing a spasm. So my energy was quiet because I could not speak. Could not taste anything. And it is really loud, and you're around a lot of characters. And I wouldn't identify you as a character because you are being who you are. And there's a difference there to me. But I just remember feeling kind of bad because you were asking all these questions. I'm like, no, maybe. I don't know. Are you serious?
You were literally just like, I was like, this person's dark a little bit. Like, like.
Which I am.
Yeah, but I was just like, I'm trying to get stuff out of her. And I even said to Lily, I think that night, I said to her, I said, your friend there, I can't stop thinking about her because I was just like and then when we connected after, I was just like, this is real. I love your energy and I respect you a lot. And we don't know each other that long. Like we know each other, 2 months, a month and a half, 3 months, maybe. I don't know how long it is. I don't know time anymore.
A month.
Okay, there you go. That's how backwards I am in life right now. But no,
it feels like a lifetime.
But it only happens with serendipity. These opportunities. Same thing with the funding, right? With the hockey stuff that I was talking about before, the hockey.
It's purity and light though. Like you recognize that in other people. Like there's an expo of 80,000 people.
Yep.
A very small percentage of them have the light. Lily's one of them. You're one of them. Natan, who you didn't meet, is one of them. And we find each other. And you find each other, and you have to be aware, and you have to be listening, and you have to be willing to jump into those conversations because like you followed up with Lily to get a hold of me. You're like, I'm going to go into this.
Intentional.
But yeah, 2 days later, I was forced to go to the ER by everyone in my life because I was like, it'll fix itself. I'm like you. I'll keep running.
But isn't that selfish?
Ragged. Super selfish. So I'm sitting, which by the way, if you ever want entertainment, go to the ER on St. Patrick's Day at night.
Oh, it's probably classic.
It was hilarious.
Was it like wild? Like it's probably like a circus, no?
So the waiting room of the ER is really small, and so they put you outside in a tent, and the tent faces the ER entrance. Well, luckily I had a friend staying with me. She took me to the ER, and when we got to the tent to wait, there were some drunk people there, some people bleeding. There was like some ruckus. So we pulled 2 chairs out from the tent and we're sitting outside. So just imagine a brown girl and a black girl in what looks like beach lawn chairs facing the entrance of the ER.
Oh
and just
my God.
character after character
probably
after
entertaining.
character. It was this
storytelling
one
is
woman
probably
pulled up
crazy.
and it pulled up really wild in a Prius, runs out of the car, gets her boyfriend out of the car. Clearly he was in a bar fight, bleeding drunk. He doesn't want to be there. Multiple times we watched him sneak out, like look around and run. And then she comes running out. You need to be here. He's like, I don't need to be here.
You have to be able to be there to see that, right?
Like, wild.
That's like a movie, right? That's a movie.
So many little stories like that. And then just she and I reading books because I had to wait a while. But they kept me there. They wanted to keep me overnight. They were kind of scaring me with like surgeries. And I'm like, surgery? Like what? I had my primary care doctor. He called the ER and was like, will you please run these images? These are what I want to see. He basically used the ER as diagnostics. He's like, great, you need to release her. I'll take care of her tomorrow. And then I got lectured by like, why did you wait 2 weeks for this?
Yeah, and that's the selfishness in us, right? I have that same thing. And like, I wait till the last bottom, like when you hit the bottom.
Yeah, you got me right before the bottom where I was like,
right?
Yeah, my mom's going to hear this. She doesn't know I went to the ER, so.
Okay.
I'm okay, Mom.
You're good. You're here right now. So but you see, again, like this comes back to being self-aware, being mature enough to understand things.
Well, it's to say too, like I'm guilty of that too. Here I am facilitating what I am for these athletes and these entertainers and my clients. And even I fail to follow my own advice. And then I will course correct. So like no one's perfect on this.
But your vulnerability and transparency that you're talking about is actually would make me as an entrepreneur trust you so much more. Just the trust for your, like the fact that most people don't say this stuff when let's say they're facilitating, services or advice or helping perform people and they don't say anything, I guarantee they're going through something because the world does. We all do.
Yes.
But when you say something, it puts you on a playing field which just makes me relate to it at a very deep level because you're real. You're not smoke and mirrors. You're not just putting on a show for the sake of the show, right? And I think that is powerful. I think more people in the world need to be able to do that. Just because you're a professional at something or an expert doesn't mean you don't have certain little things that aren't perfect.
It bugs me when I see people with platforms that I know personally not be transparent or forthcoming with their storytelling because it's like, look, it doesn't make you less than if you share this side of you. I was doing a talk at Nike and was going through all the nutrition stuff. And so somebody raised their hand and they're like, so do you just feel good all the time? And I looked at him and I kneeled down. I was like, listen.
Yeah.
I am so fucking tired and my body hurts. But there is no way I could accomplish what I'm accomplishing if I didn't eat the way that I ate. If I didn't move the way that it could. You imagine? There's no way I could even be at this status. But it's like I have a lot of ambition. So no, I don't feel great all the time because I'm running at a completely different speed than what a regular human should run at. But I recognize that. So no, I don't feel good all the time. And he kind of sat there. He was like, that's a surprisingly honest response. And I go,
it shouldn't be surprising though.
It should be just status quo. And then the essence of what I do, like you said, you're not midday squares. There's so much more than that. I had to do a keynote on how to take a physical product to $1 million and sell self-funded. So I have the presentation up on stage and I get up on stage, I take off my shoes because I need to be grounded because I actually get nervous doing talks. So I get on stage and I go, I know you guys are all here for this talk on CPG. But before I get into how I built my business and the storytelling and all of that, I need you guys all to understand one thing. You're all going to die one day.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whoa, and they sit up.
Yeah, they're like, you hit us hard.
And my friend who runs the company and put on the keynote, I see him in the back of the hall going.
Yeah, he's wild at you.
And I go, so I need you to know that every decision I make in this presentation and in life is based on my keen sense of mortality. Mortality is my biggest inspiration. A lot of people in my life are no longer here, and I have to take all the great characteristics and live on that legacy. So if there's anyone here who doesn't want to be in CPG, who doesn't want to represent the brand that you're representing, this is the time for you to use this time to do something else.
Yeah, go do something else.
And I was like, so now that we're good, now I can get into why and how I built my business the way that I did.
I like that.
And you get everyone's attention. And then after I end the presentation, I go, and again, through all the hardship, I still chose to do this because I know I'm going to die one day. And
cool.
and then you get a whole line of people who want to talk to you, not the main keynote speaker who's the shiny person that's rah and good. They're like, yo, let's have a chat.
You hit the chord. You hit human nature, and that's powerful. Like, most of the other stuff is all fluff and mirrors. What you said is real. Like, accepting that we're all going to die is super key. And I still haven't fully accepted that. And I'm working towards it because I feel like I'll be free. Because I think there's a subconscious fear there, or conscious. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But yeah, we should talk about death more in life. I think that we need to, as a society. I'm not talking about like just you and I. But
yeah, it's I did bereavement and hospice counseling as a volunteer in high school, so I was around that and what matters and the conversations that are to be had. And I don't know, I was very aware of death at a young age. I was maybe 4 or 5 sitting on my parents' bed, and my dad would come home from work. He would download his day, talk to my mom. Both my parents are very academic. My mom's in biochemistry, dad's an engineer. And I just remember they were doing that normal conversation, and I just had this overwhelm and awareness at 4 years old. My parents are going to die one day. And I just started sobbing, crying. And my mom's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm saying this in Arabic. And I go, you're going to die one day. You're going to die one day. And that continues to follow me, but I try to use it as a point of inspiration rather than a point of fear or avoiding it, because no one's getting out alive.
But the secret actually is to just live your life and
be a good person.
Be a good person.
Do good. Have fun.
And
don't be a dick.
And take care of yourself.
And take care of yourself.
I think that's the last one.
It's for me, it's like, let me leave everything better than I found it.
Yeah.
And if I make a mistake, let me have full accountability and make amends.
It's okay to make mistakes, though.
But it's to the point of the fear that you're experiencing now. From my lens of what I know about your lifestyle, some of your fear is a result of exhaustion.
Which I never thought was possible.
And some of it is legitimate fear that can be quelled just through understanding your body better, running the diagnostics. Okay, what am I predisposed to? At least I know what they are. Now I can do everything in my power to make sure that those triggers are never hit.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's my control.
Yes. And there is a real fear component and an anxiety component that doesn't come from the loss of the business. That comes out of sheer exhaustion that most entrepreneurs don't realize. When you are malnourished, when you are not getting enough sleep, your operating system is like, it's all the white noise on your laptop. Of course, that's going to, am I actually scared right now, or am I just exhausted?
Yeah. And I don't sleep properly, nor do I eat properly. So like you're saying, you're like, as you're talking about this, I'm like, it's starting to make a little bit more sense now. But you're right. Since a year and a half, like 2 years, the exhaustion levels, I'm exhausted, and I never took care of recharging that system. Mm-hmm. So it seems like I'm running and I'm abusing it. Tons of caffeine, tons of unhealthy foods. Mm-hmm. And I've never binge eaten so much in my life. It's crazy.
Are your co-founders experiencing the similar thing?
Yeah. So they're exhausted. My sister's on a new journey. She's feeling good. Like, I see it. Like she's working out every day. Like, she's in a new she's going out. Like, she's what I was actually like 4 years ago. I was pumping an hour and a half a day. I would look forward to my workouts. I was committed. I would go see my friends at night. I was good to the people around me. Mm-hmm. And I felt like a ball of energy. People want to be around me. Now I feel what she was 2 years ago, and what my brother-in-law was, or is actually kind of, he's tired too. And you're right. I think it stems in exhaustion. It's just like, what you would tell me 3 years ago, what I want to do is, I'd be excited. Now you tell me that same thing, and I'm like, I get like, excuse. And like, I don't know. I've never been so aware of my body, like sensations in my life. So I'm in tune with like what's like happening, but I've never also been so fearful, and I've never, I believe, ever been so exhausted. And I haven't treated the exhaustion. And when people tell me, take a break, take this, people say, you need a break, take a moment, take a week, take 2 weeks.
What does that mean in the world of entrepreneurship?
I don't know what that means. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, like, I think about this. Okay, so take a vacation. They go to the beach. What beach? What beach, man? Like, listen, this is very good. I travel every week. I'm on a plane every week. I'm in a hotel every week. And these trigger things for me, because it triggers this lifestyle, and it's like exhaustion for stress. I don't want to get on another plane. A vacation to me is not getting on another plane.
What is a vacation to you?
I don't even know.
What is, let's pretend time stops.
Okay.
For 6 hours. There's no phone calls that you need to do. There's nowhere you need to be. There's no one you need to check in with. Just 6 hours. Time is completely stopped. You can do whatever you want without a net negative happening. What would you do with 6 hours?
I'll go surfing. But in Montreal, that we need the water to melt first, so the lakes. That's why that's the problem. I gotta move from Montreal, Canada. Goodbye, Canada. Oh, Canada, goodbye. No, but surfing something I really feel in rhythm. Playing hockey, feel in rhythm. So like even if I'm alone playing, I really feel good. Pickleball and
One
reading.
of those.
Reading. But here's the thing. So I just told you 4 things, right?
Yep.
Sorry, pickleball, hockey, surfing. They're active, right? So they're physical. Reading's not. Reading's just mentally calm. I've only been doing the reading component because I've been fearful that I'm going to hurt myself more again. Because I hurt myself last year, I hurt my back playing hockey, and I've made it the worst case scenario, even though it was not the worst case scenario. I think I'm glass, meaning I'm fragile, and I need to hop over this because it's really taken over my life. Like surfing,
You're not
I know
moving your body,
No,
and
I'm
you
not.
just said you were super happy when you had your fitness business because you're
thrilled.
So for you, a vacation is the opportunity to freely move your body without fear. That's a vacation. And that how do you create a micro vacation each day or every other day? I would in my mind be like, well, pickleball is the one I would least likely hurt myself.
Yep.
And just start thinking about what are the different what can I eat to move better? How do I do nerve flossing to make sure that the blood flow is going well? But it's like the vacation for you is going to look different than the average person. The average person wants to escape their life completely. They want to get out of the office. They want to go down to the beach and do nothing. That's not the way that we operate. So it's how do you incorporate? Like I live with an ocean view because I know I don't take vacations.
Yep.
So let me just look out the window.
You're like, oh,
there she is. So
Yep.
I can create those moments to walk to the beach during the day and like get a moment to myself. So for you, it's creating a micro vacation, but it really just sounds like getting over this fear component from your injury. You're having a reaction to whatever fear was brought up from the back injury.
It reacts everywhere though. Like it will act my knee, it'll be my ankle, it'll be my skin, it will be my burn sensations. I think I burn myself. It will be everything. And where I don't feel it is when I'm either when I'm speaking at conferences in moment of like inspiring people, or when I'm playing Catan. I play Catan twice a week with my friends. I have so much fun. Like we literally play so competitively. It brings out the spirit of like sports, and then also like just like winning. I love the winning component. Like, and I'm with my close friends, so we're having fun. We're joking. It's not like it's a very informal get together. It's not like they have all kids and stuff. I don't, but like, so like that's nice for them to come and I get to spend that quality time. There I feel alive. Before I got to LA, because we're in LA right now, obviously, I had a moment. Like my body started to tighten up and feel like shit before I left on the plane, and I was having anxiety on the airport. And I felt it. My hip was killing, and again, it reinforced the fear of not being able to do things. Then I went on the treadmill yesterday at the hotel, and I felt fucking good. I was moving. I only moved at 5.7 speed because I'm scared to go to 5.8 for some weird reason because I think I'm gonna hurt myself. But at least I'm at 5.7, and when I'm there, I feel alive. Now, my body has trained neural pathways, I believe, to create these neural pathways that are really negative, because whenever I like lift a chest press, doesn't mean it could be a low chest press. I used to do this every day. It automatically tightens my like trap on this side, and then I have to crack it all out. And I'm like, and there's no like, I've checked for the injuries, right? I've done all this stuff. So like something's happening on a circuit in my brain.
Or you could be a shallow breather because you're anxious and tired.
That too.
And a shallow breather will create all this tension. So any movement there will create more tension. And the shallow breathing is from anxiety and stress. And so like they're all connected. Wow. And I think for someone like you, it's to go down the list and either confirm or disconfirm. Because like you just need information, it sounds like. If you have information,
I need guidance though.
Whenever you have moments of anxiety, do you have someone that you call to talk through things?
No. I try to breathe through it.
That's not working out.
No, it's it's opposite. I'm like,
was that dark humor I brought?
Yeah. I'm like, no. Yeah, no, I don't have a solution. I'll call my therapist when I can. He helps, but no, like because I've talked to so many people about this over the last year and a half, they're kind of like, you're fine. You're fine. That's the statements I keep getting. And like, it's just discouraging. So I don't,
Your partners don't hold space for it?
they do, but they don't have that much space for themselves. So
Fair.
because we're on this treadmill and train and pain, it is a painful journey. Food and beverage CPG is really tough.
Yes.
You know this. But some people have no idea. They think it's just a product that goes on the shelf and you sell. This is one of the there's very limited brands that can make it to scale. And
Oh, yeah.
and we're really trying. And the pain that's associated with it, so we don't have that much space to hold each other. And we've had the open conversations about this. That's why we have our therapists and unlimited amounts that we can go to if we want. Yeah, no,
There's also a limit to therapy.
it is because it's a certain thing,
Because
right?
there's some things that need to be actionable and in your control. Again, diet, lifestyle, habits. I call them happy habits. So putting together, I think the next step for you is putting together a diagnostics plan and then also a list of happy habits and then an actual program, whether it's what you're going to eat or how you're going to supplement, especially for how heavy you travel.
Yeah. Well, look,
Because what's next? What's
in.
next for Midday Squares?
it's just scale. It's scaling the business.
And how are you going to do that if this is how you feel today?
Like I told you, I'm supposed to go to Philly. Yeah, Phoenix today, right after this podcast, I'm going to Phoenix, right? And I'm there for a day and a half, giving energy, great, excited, all that jazz. Then I'm supposed to go to Philadelphia right after that. And I just said to you in the car, I was like, I just got to fucking cancel it because I actually want to put myself first, which I don't do ever. And figure out my rejuvenation plan. I keep putting it aside. I keep putting everything aside saying, I'm going to deal with it later. I'm going to deal with it later. And then eventually you just feel worse and worse and worse. And then like when I go to Costco Roadshow on Tuesday, I'm not going to be good. Like I know I'm not. Like I'm going to try to put on that fake adrenaline. Like, woo, that's fake. That's using extra resources that are basically not there, right? So I don't know. For me, I think I'm ready. Honestly, like I think I'm ready to put the focus into rejuvenation and effort and investment and just accept that I need to do it. And it's only me that's going to be able to accept that, no one else. You could tell me all day, someone else could tell me all day. I need to be able to say, I'm all in, let's fucking go. And give the love and resources that it needs, right? If it doesn't have it, I'm never going to get there. And I can't keep living the way I feel, the exhaustion, lethargia. It's like it's hard for me to live. I'm telling you, it's hard. And I'm not a complainer. I'm telling you, like I'm the opposite of that kind of person, and I don't want pity ever from people. But I'm lost with the way I feel. Like I'm lost, but I still keep going as a business. I still keep pushing. I could push the sled. I could push the business, but I'm not giving my best. There's no way. There's no way I'm optimized. There's no way.
Yeah, it's a really good example of the duality of life. You can feel both good and bad simultaneously. You may be going through something great and something terrible simultaneously, and you're not giving the bad the proper attention, but you're working on that. But you're at least acknowledging it while also not slowing down the ship. The ship can probably be going faster once we tend to these things.
For sure.
But they exist together. It's not all sunshine all the time. If rarely ever, if I use my life as an example, I don't remember any time in my life when it's been all sunshine. But it is a really good example of how you're still showing up for things, but then also knowing when to pull back. Because the thing that I really liked that we brought up in the car was you were struggling with the fact that you're going to let some people down. And you're like, now I have to deal with the fact that I'm letting someone down and I have to have these conversations. And I was like, I don't think you're going to let people down as much as you think.
It's all in my head.
You're letting them down. You've told this story about being the one that always comes through, that's clutch. And what does that mean if I can't come through? But it's like other people are going to understand that. And it's letting go of this like, but I'm always reliable.
It's that feeling that's killing me. It's actually causing me to fall worse. Because the more I do that clutch being, I gotta be the clutch person that comes in, I gotta close that thing. I have to, it's gonna be me only. It's just putting that pressure, that anxiety, and then this story that I'm trying to follow. And when I do follow it, it just puts me in more pain, right? And like, look, if I do go to Philly this week, it's 2.5 days of not being in a bed that's mine. It's not eating habits that are necessarily the way I want to eat.
It's not recovering.
It's not recovering.
You've got a huge road show coming on.
Yeah.
Like this.
And our company needs that more than what this trip is all about, right? So you're right. And I think what I learned from our conversation is rejuvenation is a priority and needs to be attended to ASAP. Rocky.
So what if somebody is starting to feel this anxiety creep up or pain, like what advice would you give them from the seat you're in right now?
It could take over your life. So like it could cripple you. I'm not even kidding. Like there's no fucking joking here. Like it's ruined me for the last year and a half. I'm not the same Jake as I was. And I'm sad about that. That's number one. So the seriousness of it is something to take very, very serious, and actually, start to find people, that you could, that know or are experienced in this thing, that have been through it. They could, help at least, guide you, because no one's going to tell you how to do it. Like when you have anxiety, it's like, meditate or eat well or sleep well. It's like, okay, fine. I know that stuff, but what else? How do I get started? How can you feel alone? You're lonely. So you need to be surrounded by people that can relate to you, that can get you through there. I'm still trying to find that. But that's number one. Number two is be very self-aware. So the more self-aware you are, the more you're leading yourself to deal with a solution, because eventually you're going to say, fuck it, and I'm done with this. And then the danger of that only is that if you go too long, you said it becomes a very dire situation. And I'm close to that. So my advice is, I'm no expert. I don't have a solution. The only thing I could tell you is be self-aware, and don't be afraid to reach out and share that story that you're going through, because you never know who can help you or what can help you at the time. And it's a very serious thing. Like stress is not, what I'm learning is stress is not just like, hey, I'm feeling a little off today. It changes your internal body. Like this isn't a joke. So that's what I learned. And I hope I could help other people down the line. I'm not there yet, but hopefully I'll get there soon.
But just like you shared the ins and outs, the good, the bad, the ugly of building Midday Squares, you can share that process too, of what it's going to be like to get to the other side, or get back to yourself, essentially. So what is Jake doing a year from now? What does his day look like with the madness of entrepreneurship in an ideal situation? Like let's call that in.
So I think living in warmer temperature is number one. So that means changing my environment for the cold months. There's the 3 to 4 months in Montreal. So like, let's say December all the way to like February, March. Number two is working out every day, moving my body, getting back into sports. So getting myself back to playing sports again. I used to play hockey twice a week. I like during the business, during entrepreneurship, and work out every day. And I used to play pickleball every night in the summer. Every night. So getting back to that part of my life is a 100%. Number two is figure out my nutrition. And I don't want to binge eat anymore every day. I don't want to drink pop every day. Like I've gone into a rhythm that I don't even recognize my habits. So I need to get out of that. Whatever, it doesn't have to be extreme. It has to be slow process change that will actually get me. And then last but not least is applying less pressure to Jake, in the sense of having to be the person that I think people want me to be, and I got to be the person that I want to be, and I need to put my foot down and say no more. That's it.
Is that something that you're working through in therapy?
The therapy is the no. The no is me in the therapy, but everything else is going to be both a mental and a physical challenge. Mental in the sense where I need to get over the fear. The physical is the exhaustion that could lead to the mental. So there's a lot of, and
we're all connected.
We're one.
Yeah.
We're one. And once you stop, you can't look at it like this. You have to look at it like this.
And you have to know and owe your way to success.
Yeah. And I know I have so much more to offer, and I can't give it now. So knowing that alone is putting a fire under my ass right now. So let's fucking go, baby.
Unrealized potential is so exciting to me.
Greatest motivator in life.
Knowing that you're going to create a new iteration of what possible even is. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm taking over. But that's what's motivating me. So that's what's giving me the energy to take this in and not delay and further string it along. Because right now I've been stringing it for sure. Now it's time to say, I'm committed and hold myself accountable. No one's going to hold me accountable. People can, but yourself, like myself, is going to be the best one to do it. And once I have that strategy, that skill, it could work everywhere in life.
Yeah. Amazing. Is there anything else that you wanted to?
I'm good. I think we got a lot of depth. You?
Okay. Oh, it's great. But if there's anything that you want to talk about from the business perspective, or anything coming up that you want to slide in there, we can spend
a flavor, but I don't think that's really that.
A flavor what?
We're launching a peanut crunch, and it's coming out. It's like a Snickers. Think Snickers, think O. Henry if you're Canadian. And it's just a cleaner version that has protein and fiber.
Yeah.
And anyone that's listening to this, think of Midday Squares as you're just your 2 p.m. snack that you want, that's not going to make you feel like shit. And, we made it for that reason. And I think
What's the caramel?
It's not. It's not caramel. It seems like caramel, but it's not. It's just we're using a lot of nut butters and we're using a lot of different. I've never tried, so I don't know exactly. That's what's funny about this conversation. All I know is I asked my team to explain me the things because I have to go through the textures.
Yeah.
But it's very crunchy and the chocolate's not overpowering, which is really nice. So because we're dark chocolate, we're 85% dark chocolate, right? So it's a darker chocolate.
Yeah. No, there was one of them at Expo that was a little smoother. And it didn't have the things I couldn't have. And it was smooth enough.
The brownie.
It was good enough not to burn my esophagus. So I let it melt in my mouth.
Thank God. There we go.
And like I said, when I first saw the product at Erewhon, I was really pumped to see somebody doing something like that in that vein.
Real.
Yes. And so, and I make Snickers from scratch using not peanuts, but Baruca nuts for my clients. Oh, wow. And
you can help us out now. Like, give me a call after this.
Yeah, I'll do a formulation.
Give me a call.
Like, I love formulating products for companies of things I make, so I don't have to make them anymore. So I can just buy them.
That way, it's less time, right?
Like when I started, I had to make fusilli pasta from scratch because there was no gluten-free pasta.
It took so long.
So when somebody is like, "Oh, gluten-free so hard," I'm like, "You asshole! Yeah. You can walk in the store and everything is there."
You know how hard it is for me. I have to fucking be at home all day cooking for hours, slowly art, you know?
So now all those things are readily available. But how many different flavors
we're going to have 5 SKUs. So we have our brownie batter, which is our fudge.
Yeah.
We have almond crunch. We have a peanut butter, which is like a healthier Reese. And then you have a cookie dough, which still is nuts though. Yeah. But the textures are really unique on that one. And we're a chocolate company. So you got to imagine us as a new age chocolate bar company. Look at us as like what the next 20 years of chocolate should look like. Instead of being like high sugar and palm oil and full of artificial and additives, we want to make real foods with not extreme ingredients, like not the craziest ingredients, but cleaner digestive foods that still have a bit of protein, a bit of fiber. That way we can keep you full for a little bit. Yeah. And we will make more chocolate snacks down the line, but we want to be the number one. Yep. And I promise you today, whatever the date is, in the next 3 years, we will have dethroned the number one in our set. That's something that I promise you today.
Being a chocolate company, I can already see the different categories you can enter. So that's going to be really exciting.
Good thing we're friends now. we have a journey ahead, my friend. And again, all happened because there was serendipity, time, place, energy, momentum, Lily, and authenticity. Yeah. Because you were real and I was real. And we both felt it. And then the intention was, I see 80,000 people here. Not a lot of them are real. So the one that is real, you want to be around.
Amazing. Well, I really appreciate you making the time before you get on an airport or to the airport. That's huge.
Which I'm not down to get on a plane right now, but it's only an hour and a half. And then I'm in 100 Celsius degrees and going to go golfing, which I'm caddying. I'm not golfing. Could be also part of my fear that I'm not golfing.
Oh, you don't want to golf because you might be injured. Well, when you get to the airport, because you're going to get there early. Pull up something that teaches diaphragm breathing and do just a 3-minute exercise on diaphragm breathing before you get on that plane. Get the oxygen flowing through your body before you step on that plane. And then let me know how it feels when you land.
I'll be fired up.
Right on.
Diaphragm breathing for life. Let's go.
Again, thank you. I really appreciate it. Tell everyone where to find you and where to find Midday Squares.
So you should definitely follow Midday Squares on social. It's fun on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn, Jake Karls, or Instagram, Jake Karls. I'm always happy to connect with people.
Big following on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's my platform. So Instagram's my friends. LinkedIn, I've been able to get an actual voice where I can get anywhere from 20 to 300,000 views organically per post. So, but I'm getting a message across. So a lot of my messages are about being yourself and actually challenging the traditional way of living. And it's hitting the chord with corporate world. So it's good. So follow me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect, DM me. And then if you want to find Midday Squares as a product, Target, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Fresh Time, Erewhon, and then in Canada everywhere. So you'll find it there. And then in the refrigerated section, not where the snacks are, refrigerated.
Amazing. Thank you again. And that is it on today's episode. Thanks so much for hanging out. Your time and attention never goes unappreciated. If anything in today's show stood out to you, I encourage you to share it to social and tag me. That is how you can help a little independent show like mine grow. And of course, rate, review, and subscribe to Eat, Play, Crush wherever it is you get your podcasts. If you want to follow me, I'm at Paleo Chef on social media or the show at Eat, Play, Crush. You want to stay in touch via my newsletter or get your hands on the gut reset, visit eatplaycrush.com. And until next time, be well, do good, and trust your gut.